Hello everyone, this is Ben from Paintballers World Singapore. Today I have some Ninja products that I would like to show you, but at the same time also taking this opportunity to allow everyone to understand a little bit more about what it means by air tank regulator. Okay, because I've been in business for almost 10 years and coming to 11 years already, and every now and then we have players who come to us to request for certain services on the tank, and not knowing what exactly is a tank regulator. So I'm just going to go through this video so that more people will get to know more about paintball, and at the same time make a wise decision when it comes to purchasing some items. So over here we have the Ninja regulator. Okay, so this Ninja regulator comes in many different versions. The one I'm holding over here is what we know as the ultralight version. And this is not what is popularly known as the V2 Pro. So this is the Ninja Light. Sorry, this is the ultralight. So what it means by ultralight is it has a very small little gauge. Okay, so it has a small little gauge as compared to this one over here, which is the V2 rack. But even with this V2 rack, we have the ultra gauge as well. So I'm going to just bring out these two, open this up just to show you what is the main difference of a Pro V2 rack versus a normal regulator. Okay, so over here you see two rack. One is the normal Ninja regulator and the other one is the V2 Pro rack. Something that is very obvious to you is that there is this silver lining over here. Now that silver lining is actually a rotational device which allow the tank to rotate depending on the screw thread of your marker. So essentially what it means is that sometimes when you're playing, okay, and you're shooting paintball, you might have the gauge facing you, or you might have the gauge facing downwards, depending on the screw thread as you screw into the tank. But with the Ninja V2 regulator, what it means is when you have the regulator onto your tank, you can actually adjust according to your requirement. So you can have the gauge facing upwards, so whenever you are pumping the air, you can actually read the gauge easily. Or if you want another easy access, you can have the fill nipple facing up so that it gives you facilitates your movement as you are trying to pump air into the marker. Okay, so this is something that's really special. Let me just zoom in on the Pro V2. You will notice that actually the Pro V2 also have got two double O-ring from on the screw thread. Now this is for additional protection. It's just in case that if air is leaking out from the end of the gun, then you will have a good indication that air is coming out from there. Of course, you can hear it as well. I'm just going to also at the same time, since I'm already here, to show our viewers on how you can safely put in a regulator onto a tank. Okay, so not many people know about this. I've seen people who try to screw tank from the top, some screw it from the side. But the actual and the most desired way to do it is to screw the tank on with the tank facing upwards and the thread pointing into the sky. Now, reason for that is very simple, because if you notice that in the regulator, there's always a O-ring over here, right? So that O-ring needs to be sitting and sitting onto the regulator nicely. All right, but by putting it this way, sometimes as you're screwing it in, you might pinch the O-ring, and the pinching of the O-ring might damage the O-ring, and therefore you might be playing for a while, and after a while you realize that air is gushing out from the regulator and doesn't know what happened. So this is something that can really happen. So to prevent the O-ring from getting pinched, the preferred manner, which I would recommend to most of the people, is to actually screw it right from the top. Okay, so ensure that it has got an easy, it's a very smooth turning posture or movement, because I have had customers in the past, they were trying to force the regulator in and realize that it is actually not sitting on the right thread. And what happened was, you screw in to a certain point and the tank doesn't continue to screw in anymore. So just make sure that it's a very smooth spinning motion. And once you have come to the edge, just be sure that you can probably tighten it using a hand tight motion. So don't screw it too tight. Just ensure that as long as your hand can no longer turn, as long as you have given it a really nice tug, and then that's probably where the regulator will be sitting on the tank. Okay, now you can also easily remove by turning it in this manner. Okay, just be sure that the O-ring is sitting and resting on the regulator as you spin it off. Now, many times people would like to ask me, and oh no, is it necessary for us to put in extra tension or extra security by putting in probably some Loctite or glue? My advice is try not to do that. Now, of course, when you buy a tank that is stock from the factory, you can request for the regulator to be mounted onto the tank, or you can request for the regulator to be unmounted. Now, over here at PBW, I would say all of our tanks have got regulators unmounted from the tank. Reason because is to also facilitate our players who are traveling overseas to play. Now, when you are traveling overseas and when you're on a plane, you're checking in your tank, you need to remove the regulator and the tank and leave it as two separate pieces. Okay, because you know, as you are checking in your luggage, pressure builds up. You don't know what can happen to the tank. You are just putting unnecessary pressure on the tank by sealing the regulator onto the tank. So always remove your rag whenever you are traveling, especially when you are traveling overseas by flight. Okay. Now, the other thing that I would like to show is what is commonly known as the thread saver. So once the screw is screwed on to the tank, and whenever you're traveling, you're playing, you know, once in a while you might be handling the tank in this manner, and you basically dent the screw thread. Now, just a reminder that once the screw thread is dent, it is very important for you to actually change a new regulator. So to prevent that from happening, sometimes there are players who like to purchase what we know as a screw thread. Okay, and they can actually screw the thread on. And once the screw thread is on, it actually acts as an additional protection for the regulator. You can actually remove it as and when you like, you know, whenever you are playing, and just keep it. And not only that, some of the screw thread savers actually has got an additional O-ring there for you. So just in case if any of the O-ring pops, get pinched, and then it tears, all you need to do is just remove the O-ring from the cap and then just put it on, and you can continue in the game. Now, the other thing I want to show you is what we know as the Ninja regulator extender. So over here is a Ninja regulator extender. This is it's not common. It's not common for players to want to extend their tank. Usually for players who have pretty long arms, or even players who feel that the tank is sitting right too much inward, and you need the gun to be to extend. So you can actually put on a tank regulator extender. It's very simple. All you need to do is just screw it on the top of the tank regulator, and therefore it gives you the additional almost 1 inch extension. So you're not feeling too uncomfortable with your gun being protruded out as you are playing. All right. Some prefer it to be nearer to your face. Some prefer it to be further. A good gauge will be holding on to the gun and ensuring that the tank is actually sitting just right on the forearm, and this will be a very good indication of whether your tank is sitting too far in or sitting too far out. Okay, so you can also purchase this tank regulator extender. And the other thing that we sell over here at PBW is also a Ninja replacement kit. So we do have a Ninja burst disc replacement kit. There will be times where sometimes your Ninja regulator is damaged because you haven't maintained it long enough. Therefore, you can actually think about purchasing one of these replacement kit. It comes with a couple of pressure shims and a new burst disc, along with some screws. And if you are thinking about doing a regular maintenance for your Ninja rack, this is something that you can purchase as well. Okay, so if you are interested, go on to our website www.paintballersworld.com to find out a little bit more about the products, or either that, just drop us a message on Facebook and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So this is Ben signing out from Paintballers World. Thank you.